In this video, I'm going to share with you everything you need to know about being a limited liability company. Stay tuned. My name is Brandon, and I'll welcome you to my channel, Knowledge is Power. We talk about faith, money, and business. Now, in the last video, we're actually doing a series right now called Choosing a Business Entity. It's for those of you who want to start your own business, but maybe need a little bit more information about business entity types. The last video we did was about sole proprietorship. Today, obviously, we're talking about limited liability companies. So before I get into that, hit that subscribe button and notification bell if this sounds like content that you would like to see, and so that you never miss one of my videos. Alright guys, let's get started. So what's the difference between an LLC and a sole proprietor? What makes an LLC different from a sole proprietorship is that an LLC actually gives you limited liability protection. And what that means is that now there is actually separation between your personal assets and your business assets. And if something were to go wrong on a job and say a customer sues you, they can only go after your business assets. Also with LLCs, you can actually create partnerships or take on partners in your business. So how do I make my business an LLC? So it's actually pretty easy to make your business or create a business that is an LLC. All you have to do is contact your Secretary of State or go on their webpage, fill out forms. Typically they're called articles of organization. So you would fill out that form, submit it in. It's usually about, I would say, $100 to $800 to make your business or create an LLC. For me, in my business that I had in Oklahoma, it only costs $100. Now, one thing you need to remember with LLCs is you actually have to renew your LLC every single year. So for example, my business had to renew every April 14th because that's when I submitted the forms to make my business an LLC. So just remember that you'll have to do this yearly to have that LLC attached to your name. Now, you mentioned partners earlier, Brandon. Can you talk more about that? Yeah, of course. Well, there's actually different types of LLCs. You can have a single member LLC, and you can also have a partnership LLC where you have multiple owners. Now, why would you want to have multiple owners for a business? Well, you have to think about it like this. If you create a business and you have multiple owners who all equally have a share in the business, those owners bring not only their knowledge and skills, but they also bring their resources. So it could really help to have those owners all coming together to make this business work. And there's different types of partners. You can have a partner who is more active and involved in everyday business operations, or you can have more of a passive partner who more just wants to invest into your business for a share of ownership, and then they just either get some type of percentage of equity, or maybe a percentage of the profits from the business. Okay. Now, should I run my business out of my personal account? Is that okay? Absolutely not. Do not run your business out of your personal account. If you're going to notice a common theme across this series, is you always want to have that separation between your personal accounts and your business account. And the reason why is you're going to lose that protection that LLC gives you if you run your business out of your personal account, because you're not going to be able to distinguish what's business activity from, your everyday expenses and income. So that's something that you really need to make sure that you have that separation, so that if you get sued and they're going to go after your business assets, well, they got to be able to distinguish what's your personal assets and what's your business assets. So please have that separation intact. I see. So basically, an LLC means I'm invincible from everything. Yeah, no. You can lose the protection that an LLC gives you if, one, you commit fraud. So if you go, let's say you went to a bank and you wanted to get a business loan and you misrepresent or you omit some portion of the financials, or you lie about certain things, that's fraud. And you better bet they can come after you personally if you commit fraud with your business. Also, number two is if you personally guarantee a business debt. So if you say, hey, I personally guarantee that this business debt will be paid, yeah, they're going to come after you for your personal assets, or sue you for your personal assets for payment for that business loan. And three is if you use personal assets to guarantee business loans or business debts. So the limited liability protection only goes so far in protecting you, and it's usually because of, let's just say, user error. I see. All right, well, last question is, how are LLCs taxed? So LLCs and sole proprietors are actually taxed the exact same way because they're both considered flow-through entities, which basically means that when you do taxes, your business activities are going to go on what's called a Schedule C, and the result of that is going to flow through to your personal taxes. Now, when it gets a little bit more complicated when you're dealing with like a partnership LLC, because now the business is going to have to issue out K-1s to each individual partner, because that K-1 reflects their share of the business that they're going to have to pay taxes on. But it still all flows through to their personal taxes at the end of the day. All right, guys, so that's LLCs in a nutshell. I hope throughout this video you got a lot out of what it means to be an LLC and the benefits that come along with it. If I didn't answer one of your questions, though, please leave your question in the comment section below. I'll do my best to answer your question to the best of my ability. Now, the next couple weeks, we're going to be talking about S corporations and C corporations. So you definitely want to hit that subscribe button, notification bell, so you don't miss those videos, because they are important business entity types to know why they're different, what benefits come along with each one of those. So definitely stay tuned for those. Okay, coming up next is going to be QT with G, so I highly recommend you stick around for that. But if you can't, that's totally fine. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Now it's time for QT with G, which basically means quiet time with God. And this is something that I do at the end of every one of my videos. And all we really do is just break open God's Word, and we just I kind of read from it and draw some application that I got from it, and hopefully it benefits you in some way. Now today we're in John chapter 9, and we're going to dabble a little bit in chapter 10. But basically what's going on here is Jesus is in Judea, and Jesus heals a man born blind. Now Jesus is in Judea. He just left the temple, and he passes by with his disciples a blind man, and his disciples ask Jesus a really interesting question. They ask him, and I quote, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" I thought that was really interesting. But Jesus answered, "It was not that this man sinned or his parents, but that the works of God might be displayed in him. We must work the works of him who sent me while it is day. Night is coming when no one can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world." And Jesus spits on the ground, and he makes a little bit of mud, and he wipes it across this man's eyes, and he tells him to go wash his eyes in the pool of Siloam. I might have messed that name up, but that's what I think it sounds like. But so the man washes his eyes, and he regains his sight. And the people are amazed by this, and the Pharisees snatch up this guy, this blind man, and they interrogate him. They're like, who healed you? And he tells them that Jesus did, and it's just long conversation, but I felt myself in that moment when I was reading chapter 9 and chapter 10, I felt like I was the Pharisee in that moment because, sometimes when we hear these miracles, we start thinking like, man, there's got to be another way. Maybe he wasn't truly blind, or we try to rationalize another way that this could have been happened, and we almost try to dismiss the miracle, and that's what the Pharisees are trying to do as well. And so they grabbed this blind man's parents, and they interrogated them, asking them, was he really blind from birth? And they're like, yeah. And he has his vision now. And, they asked him, how did he regain his vision? They're like, ask him. He's the one that got healed. And he tells them about Christ. They dismiss it, of course, and they cast the blind man out. Now, Jesus, hearing that the blind man was cast out, finds the blind man, and there's this interesting dialogue between them. Now, in John chapter 9, verse 35, Jesus heard that they had cast him out, and having found him, he said, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" The blind man answered, "And who is he, sir, that I may believe in him?" Jesus said to him, "You have seen him, and it is he who is speaking to you." And the blind man said, "Lord, I believe." And he worshipped him. And Jesus said, "For judgment I came into this world, that those who do not see may see, and those who see may become blind." And it comes to this point where the Pharisees they just cannot accept Jesus for who he claims to be. They believe the works, but they cannot accept him for him claiming to be God. And it's very evident in this. I'm going to read this starting in chapter 10, verse 31. Now watch this conversation between the Pharisees and Jesus. The Jews picked up stones again to stone Jesus. And Jesus answered them, "I have shown you many good works from the Father. For which of them are you going to stone me?" The Jews answered him, "It is not for a good work that we are going to stone you, but for blasphemy, because you, being a man, make yourself God." And, Jesus did claim to be equal with God. To be the Son of God is to be equal with God. And they could not accept him for who he was. But as you can see, they didn't deny the fact that Jesus was doing a lot of good works. So I just want you guys to take a minute and read John chapter 9 and chapter 10 and see what you get out of it and what maybe applies to you in your life. And then post down in the comment section below. And so we can just kind of have a conversation about these two verses. All right, guys, well, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys have a great day, and God bless.